We are live. Good morning. This is Danny McAtee and CT Duel. Good morning on all platforms. CT, how are you?
I'm doing well, man. I am beginning to feel like myself again, and that is a blessing.
Say
So
more.
I'll keep it real, man. I've been in a what I'm just calling a dip, a low for a few months. Struggling, right? You're not winning, things aren't clicking, you're not rolling in life like you were before. You get frustrated about it. You're asking God, what? Come on, just put me back. Let me win again. And he's like, hold on. You gotta learn something. There's a reason for this. So I think I've learned. And I think I'm beginning to get back to me, man. And I'm like I said, it's a blessing. So how are you doing, my brother?
I'm glad to hear it. Can we stick on that topic for just a second?
Come on.
When the audience hears us say that, I mean, I've been through you with a little bit of this process, so I think I have a little bit of insight. But when the audience hears us say that, how did you get from the dip to where you are right now? What tools did you use? What was your process?
That's why you're brilliant, man. You asked the right question. That's the $1 million question. For me, I'm like one of these self-improvement cats, like always looking to level up in some way. I think a lot of us are, right? Certainly people in this space. So for me, it was always like, what's the next thing I can learn? What's the next tool I can add to my tool belt? Whereas this time it's been like, no, let's just go back to the basics. Let's take the humble approach of like admitting that we had some shit figured out before and that we just fell off. Like for me, right, what tends to get me into these lower states, these dips, when I ignore all my emotions, I'm just stacking up emotions, not feeling. Um, I go further down the hole of avoiding emotion and I fall off of the basics, man. So what are the basics? For me, one of the basics is spirituality, right? Reading something spiritual, doing some spiritual practices, right? Whether that be a mindfulness practice, reading some sort of scripture, whatever it is. When I fall out of touch with that, I start to lose myself a little bit. All the basic health habits, as you know, are very impactful. Sleeping right, eating right, working out, all that stuff. Um, that's honestly been the most powerful thing for me, man. Getting back to some of those good habits and admitting that I am in a dip instead of just fighting it, right? And yeah, just getting back to spiritual practices has helped me out a lot.
I like it back to the basics. Sorry for the 20 questions, but I think someone that's watching this is like, well, how will I know? How will I know if I'm in a dip? Well, what lets me know that I'm in a dip? What lets me know I'm in a dip is when it's a great question, Danny. I don't know how to answer it myself. I think that when I notice the change in how I'm speaking to myself, when I notice negativity, um, when I'm muttering little comments under my breath that I would not say to someone's face,
Mm,
and when I notice my sleep patterns shift, when I notice I'm on my phone more.
mm, big one.
The doom scrolling is like red alert. That the doom scrolling is kind of like step 5 into the dip for me.
Mm,
Like when the fifth or sixth night that I'm up at 1:30 in the morning, like nodding off when I'm going like this on my phone. I'm like, okay, you have stepped away from something you need. Let's get back to it. And I definitely agree that for me as well, the basics, right? The
yeah,
basics, sleep hygiene, waking up at the same time every morning, going to bed at the same time every night, leaving my phone alone, waking up in the morning, having a long period of time with exposure to sunlight, but not blue light, right? So I get up and move around and look at the sun on my face before I look at my phone and then get some kind of movement, right? So if you're watching this, welcome. This is the Forge Men's Group. My name is Danny McAtee. This is my friend and colleague, CT Duel. we talk about these topics and we want to open the conversation to anyone who's watching or listening. Please comment. Please drop a comment. Please ask a question. I will just put our contact information up here.
I didn't
so
mean to
you can
leave
get
you.
one of us.
My bad, brother. I didn't mean to leave you hanging on what you were saying. I think I think it froze on my end as you were finishing your thought, and you're like, CT's just gonna leave me out to dry on this one.
No, I just
My
went
bad.
directly into an intro. No problem.
Cool.
CT froze, but he's back. So, CT, tell us about the topic you've chosen for today.
Yeah, man. I think this is, if anyone watched kind of what we were saying last time, this is kind of a continuation or a nice little parallel we can go down. And that is, if you were the most self-compassionate version of yourself, what would you do? What would you not do? I like how you put it there. Man, I want to hear, you know what? I was gonna answer, but let's hear yours, Danny. If you were the most, because for anyone watching, when I texted Danny, hey, I think we should do this topic, the prompt that you see there on the screen, he was like, damn it, you got me. I was like, it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. So I'm interested, man. What came to mind immediately?
The first thing, I mean, a number of things came to mind for me, but the first thing, like the most real and honest thing that no one would know unless I told them, was stop perseverating on the past. I tend to relive and relive and relive. What should I have said? What didn't I say? Why did I say that? What about this? They did this to me. I can't believe I allowed this. And it just is like a downward spiral. And so that's what non-compassion looks like, right? Non-compassion looks like, hey, okay, XYZ didn't work out exactly as you planned, and maybe it worked out nothing like you planned. Next time we can do it differently. You cannot change the past, no matter how hard you try. So if it was a mistake, okay, you made a mistake. If you played the best hand you had at the time, you played the best hand that you had at the time. Now you have a different hand and you could play differently now. But we need to stop reliving it, right? There's no point. Like dealing in the past, I mean, as we always say, the past is gone. We cannot change it no matter how hard we try. It's impossible to know what the future holds. So what happens tomorrow, it's unavailable to us until tomorrow, right? Therefore, I invite you to live in the present moment. Because when we think of the past, it drags us into depression. When we try to anticipate the future, it pushes us into anxiety, right? Both of those create an imbalance. And for me, that's often the beginning of my downward spiral. And then 5 days, 2 weeks later, I notice that I'm sleeping 4 hours a night because I'm on fucking Instagram and TikTok. And so I have to reel it back in. All right, let's do a little reset. So for me, that's the first thing that came up is reliving and rehashing and going over the past again.
Yeah, I think that's something a lot of us struggle with. Certainly, I do. I want to recognize you, man, on a slightly different but related note. I'm kind of aware of what some of the things you have been going through in your personal life. Certainly not easy, and your ability to show up, talk about them. It's like a balance between I'm willing to talk about it, I'm willing to be vulnerable, but also it's not eating me alive. It's not swallowing me up. It's like I can still show up and do things like this. So I just want to recognize you for that, man. Yeah, the self compassion. I heard a guy in the sauna. I don't know why in the sauna. People are always dropping gems. That's when people are fucking philosophers. This 70-year-old guy. He was like, "When I know better, I'll do better. Right now, I'm doing the best I can do." Right, right.
That's
Like
real.
when I know better, I'll do better. Right now, I'm doing the best I can with what I know. And that's true self-compassion to me, right? That's recognizing that we know what we know, doing the best I can. I'm only human. Instead of what many of us men do is, I gotta be perfect. If I make a mistake, if I have a dip, then I'm just completely ruined, right? If I'm not like I always say, if I'm not on, winning, charismatic, outward performing, then I must not be shit, you know? So for me, to answer the question, if I were the most self-compassionate version of myself, because I struggle with that perfectionist mindset, that always winning mindset, it's that, right? It's to just say, look, you've fallen because before you had risen. Like you can only fall off because you had leveled up before, you know? So let's think about that. Let's keep that in mind, you know? So literally, like, bro, this week, past 2 weeks, I'm just writing down some of my fucking wins. I'm just thinking about because I've been dwelling on losses for 3 months. And
Dwelling on losses.
it's like as a man thinketh, so is he. If I'm dwelling on losses, I'm gonna keep on perpetuating the loss. So it's not like a escapism and no, life is good, I win, I'm only but it's like let's focus on what we wanna experience, you know? So
It's
that's
interesting
about
because, yeah, I'm sorry.
no, I was down. What you got?
No, as I'm hearing you speak, I think that we are entrapped in a binary model, right? We're entrapped in this model of I'm either doing great, succeeding, or I'm failing, and I am a fuck up, right? So we have in the West, especially with men, like it's either or. Either I'm winning in your words, I'm winning, I'm leveled up, I'm all those blah, 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 or I suck, I failed, I fucked up. And it's like this, this black and white thing where some of the more Eastern, some of the more shamanic approaches are the best and most valuable lessons are when it doesn't work out the way we planned it.
So you're spitting fire.
Listen, if you talk to like all the C-suite executives that I listen to, all of the really, really successful people I listen to, they have a very interesting approach to failure, which is they don't believe it's a failure. They believe it's an unplanned opportunity, right? Because when our ego isn't something, the ego says, I failed. I did this wrong. I didn't deliver. I'm not leveled up. But when we can pull back, and I'm like crack the door on this a little bit. I'm certainly not very good at it yet. But when we can say, well, I wasn't expecting that. Well, that's interesting. Let's look at this. Like, how could I play this hand now? When we remove our ego and stop saying, I did this, this happened to me, then we have a different experience, I think. And this is how, again, probably 10% into this perspective at the moment, but this is how I've thought about my marriage. This is how I've thought about my finances recently. This is how I've thought about who I voted for. This is how I'm trying to think, and it is a huge relief. It's a huge relief. I mean, the amount of bandwidth that I don't use it's just like night and day.
That's big, man. Using a lot of bandwidth. I was just reading something this morning about that topic, how much bandwidth, how much energy we use on the things that we can't even control, right? The past, future, whatever it is. That's big, man. That's big. Can you tell us more about, you said you're 10% in. Is that process for you to give yourself more grace, acknowledge that it's not linear? Is that process, I guess I'm selfishly asking, how do you do that? And is it just a matter of practice makes better?
It's a good question. How do I do that?
What does your process look like?
Well, I don't think I have a refined process yet. What my process has looked like, and this is, part of the conversation I hope we'll have more space for in the Forge is plant and sacred medicine, because one of the things that some of the ceremonial work I've done with plant medicine has allowed me to take the ego, put it over there, right? And so it removes access to the ego for a period of time. And so for me, it looks more like, okay, what I've been doing habitually for many years, decades actually, hasn't worked. It's not working. It causes me suffering, and it doesn't really resolve anything, right? It's just stuck in this negative feedback loop of how come I didn't do this? What about I should have said that? Well, okay, well you can't say it now because it's past. So I think to me, it's kind of been trial and error. And so how I do in terms of planning for the future is this is a part of my mindfulness practice. Like, how would I like to manage adversity moving forward? Like, what does conflict look like for me now? Right. And so
Mm,
it's like people argue because they're defending a position, right? When I'm open to the possibility that my position or opinion may be wrong, I don't really have anything to defend anymore. And I just become more open. Right. And so it like chemically in the brain, I mean, we could do a whole fucking workshop on this, but chemically in the brain, that changes our body chemistry into more of the feed, breed, parasympathetic flow state. It moves us in that direction. Whereas when we're arguing, we're fighting, it moves us into a fight or flight, adrenalinized state, right? And that's not healthy to be in for a long period of time. We're not meant to be in for a long period of time. And so when I remove the competition from adversity, it, it stops being like a fight and it becomes a process.
mm. Yeah, that's
I found
important,
out
man.
recently someone was talking shit about me. I found out in a way that was like, oh. And my old self would have looked like dragging them publicly, waiting to get them cornered in front of other people, start asking prying questions and trapping them, right? To beat them down verbally and squish them and make them feel. That would have been the way that I would intimidation, bullying, harassment, you know, really cornering, being like, I want you to really drink this in and sit in this and say it to me now. Confrontational. And
Mm,
this time I was like, you know what? Let me be that villain for you. Let me fulfill that role for you. Because the truth is like a lion. It doesn't need to be defended. You set it free and it defends itself. So I was like, if that's the role you need me to play in your dim gray little mind right now, fine. Let that be the case. And so for me, I was just like, I don't have to deal with this. It's not my issue. You know, I can't change
liberating.
someone's mind by force. Cannot.
If I could keep that in mind, man, I'd have much less stress. Can't change anyone else.
No use trying. I mean, you know, in the sphere of influence that we talk about, you know, the donut of influence. There's the donut hole in the middle. This is our sphere of control. Right? These are the things that I can absolutely control. The body of the donut, the tasty fried part, that's our sphere of influence. A little bit bigger. But then outside of that is the whole rest of the universe. And that's completely outside of our control or our influence. And it's also where we focus a lot of our energy. Right. So, what are the things I can control? I can control my mindset. I can control my mouth. I can control my breathing. That's about it. I can control my whereabouts. That's it. You know, so I would say, as a protracted answer to your question, part of my process is being like, what about this is within my control? And as you mentioned in your process, spiritual practice, meditation, movement, those are in my control. I can do those.
Mhm.
My internal voice, that's within my control. No one has any influence over that. And so that's like, you know, but then because I'm habitual, then I slip back and do the old behavior. And then I'm like, oh, wait, that's not going to work. I've tried it a lot of times. And it's just that process of, you know, grinding forward.
I would like you help me with sometimes. I would invite you to reframe that from because I'm habitual, I do this. It's like because I'm human,
Yeah.
you know? And I think I think that mindset of I have in control these few things and everything else is outside of my control. I think that could on one hand make us feel small, but I think it's also really empowering. Because like you said, no one can influence the way I think. No one can influence what I think about myself, my self-talk, my internal voice, my breathing, my practices, my habits. It's like I actually have power over a lot of things. And there's also a simplicity to it, right? It's like, look, I got these 5 things. And if I do them decent, I'll feel pretty good. You know. I was gonna ask you something. What was it? I don't know. I don't remember. But if we continue on this topic, if I were the most self-compassionate version of myself, I would not. Something I recently discovered, I think we've talked about this a little bit, is I only I never actually became compassionate with myself. I just stopped berating myself. And I thought I was good.
Mm.
I just stopped calling myself a piece of shit, a pussy, an asshole, whatever it is. And I thought, okay, 100% self-compassion, I'm good. But really, I was just psychoanalyzing myself and self-improvement shaming myself. Well, were you acting on this impulse because of your trauma, because of this? Just dissecting it way too much instead of going, look, I'm human. I do have impulses. And sometimes they do get the best of me, right? And that's okay. I'm getting better. Like we've talked about before, it's not, I don't give in to 80% of the impulses anymore. I give in to 20. Fuck. That's progress, man. So yeah, man, for me, like on the self-compassion piece, I thought I had achieved a version of self-compassion, but it was just like a cleaner, more sophisticated way to still beat myself up,
Mm. Mhm.
you know, a less explicit way to shame myself.
Mhm. A less
How you feel
explicit
about
way
that?
to shame myself. Damn.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think the point is balance, right? And this is where this is where we have to be honest with ourselves, right? Because it's like I can go into a shrink's office, I can go into coaching, I can go into a men's group, and I can say whatever I want, and people will believe that that's the truth, right? But this has to be like for me has to do with honesty, integrity of like when I step away from my ego, like how am I actually doing this? That's an interesting concept. You've asked me in the past, when does self compassion become enabling? And there's a middle point, and for me, it has to do with just being honest about. You're talking about impulses. If I have an impulse to do something in the past, I'm like, I have to stop this behavior. I don't like it. Let me override this with more control. Now I lean more into what is this impulse or desire trying to tell me? Where is this coming from? Right. So it turns less into like this Catholic thing of like that's bad behavior. That's you can't do that. You have to stop doing that. Into okay, I'm going to choose not to do that. But what about that ask is telling me something? What is it trying to tell me? Here's an
I don't know.
example. Yeah. So I have a sweet tooth, right? I would find that I would go and like slam a piece of flan or like a big piece of cake or cookies late in the day, evening, ice cream. So I've got a nutritionist, and we were talking about everything else and some of my goals. Like I'm 50, like what do I have to change? Cholesterol, blah, 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 all this stuff. And I was talking about that. I was like, I have this really bad sweet tooth. Well, as it turns out, I was not getting enough glucose and fructose in my diet.
Mm.
Right. So I was basically becoming like a little low blood sugar and then like looking for something to slam it. And that worked with my like endorphins and shit like that. And it became like a coping behavior. So what happened? I started eating more fruit in the morning, done with it.
Knocked it out just like that.
Right. It wasn't about this. You're weak because you slipped up and you did the behavior again. It wasn't anything like that. It was just simply like, oh, my body was asking for more of a nutrient that it needed and I wasn't giving it to it.
Mhm.
This is part of the reason I've been going up in the mountains and picking like mangoes and guanaba. Like to always have
That's
like
bad.
fresh fruit around and bananas and stuff. It's actually really good for you. You know what I mean? To have fruit like this. So that's just one example. It's a very simple example of many, but I've applied that to other more complex examples. Like, what is this yearning, this desire, this impulse? What is it telling me? What's it trying to tell me? And that's the basis of compassion, is stepping away from our ego toward understanding.
Mm.
right? Like this person that I found that was talking shit, right? Let me be that villain for you. I understand. You know, you need to see the world in good and bad, and you're good and I'm bad. Okay, I get it. Let me be that for you. That's a form of compassion, right? Instead of being like, you can't say that about me. I don't like that. I'm going to take some countermeasures to make you feel even worse. Right? And so that's an external example of compassion, but internal compassion is like that simple example I just described. Hey, fat ass, shove another piece of pie down your throat, you fat motherfucker. You know, like that would be my internal voice.
Damn, bro. I don't think the punish the crime warrants the punishment on that.
That's well, that's what my internal voice was like. Incidentally, my mom used to come through the dining room, and when I was eating something, and she would be like, "Could you be any fatter?"
Mm.
Like little jabs like that, and I've definitely took that and applied it to myself with compounding interest, right? But so now it becomes more of like, oh, you were hypoglycemic in the afternoon, so you were like fiending for some sort of sugar, and that fed your coping mechanism. And I mean, I like cake, I like cookies, you know, and the
Fuck
two,
yeah.
the two just work together.
Yeah, that's a perfect storm to crush some fucking cookies, man. I'm hungry over here, man. You talking about donuts, sphere of influence, cakes, cookie? Fuck, about to go eat some cheesecake, man. No, dude, you made like 11 good points, all of which I wanted to like unpack more, and I can't even remember half. But I think you make a powerful point on the way that we, if any men, out there, are fathers, women, mothers, whatever it is, the way that we talk to our children, we become their internal voice.
Mhm.
It's just a fact. You
Yep.
don't have to use that to scare you into never, disciplining them or whatever, but it's just a fact, as you eloquently put it. You're literally what your mom was telling you is what you were saying to yourself years later, decades later, right? So that's true. And I think the other point you made that was powerful was it sounded to me like using pain as wisdom, right? Does that encapsulate what, like, using the impulse? What's underneath that impulse? Some desire, maybe, some fear, some pain, avoidance of pain, using that as knowledge, right? Like for me, right, struggling with pornography addiction for fucking years, as is pretty much the norm at this point among men. Starting to add, instead of, oh shit, I relapsed, I need to fucking do all this stuff, and I got, damn it, how could you? Next time, we're never doing it again. Look at myself in the mirror. How could you do this? Shifting to, what did I need? Right? That powerful question you've asked me before, in that 10 minutes before you did the thing, where were you at? So, yeah, same concept as with eating the cake. It's like, what did I need? And similar to your example of eating the cake, my body just needed some sugar. Like my blood sugar was literally low and it was craving something that was sweet. So for me, it's like I needed some connection. You know, what was I craving in that moment when I went to that woman, when I went to that sex worker, when I went to that porn website? I was just craving some fucking connection. And so, how can I position myself to get that in a way that doesn't involve abandoning myself in the future,
Mhm. Mhm.
right? Because maybe just a 5-minute conversation with the guy that works in the building, have a couple laughs, maybe that satisfies me. Maybe that's all I fucking needed, you know, instead of doing X, Y, Z to try to go get that connection. So, yeah, man, that's just to confirm on my end that your point is valid. Like, I think there's always a lesson, knowledge, wisdom in these impulses, right? These things we call impulses,
Yeah, and that's compassion.
and that's compassion.
That is compassion. So if I were the most compassionate version of myself, I would apply this model all the time.
Yeah, yeah. That's the hard part. right? That's the hard part to me. Intellectually, I know I should be more compassionate to myself, but putting it into practice ain't too easy, boss.
I'm gonna try something here. I'm gonna try to put. Hold on. I'm gonna try to put this link to the studio on Facebook and see.
Just like have anyone that wants to join come in.
Yeah, just like Russian roulette.
Well, yeah, let's go. We're gonna get some dodgy motherfuckers from Russia up in here.
I'll talk to anybody.
Same, let's
I'll
go.
block anybody too, but I will talk to anybody. Let's see who
Yeah,
comes
we have
on.
to-
I'm really interested to hear what people have to say about this. I'm truly very interested because it's a I mean, not that long ago, I couldn't tell you exactly when, but not that long ago, when I used to hear people talking about self-compassion, I would like roll my eyes and be like, fucking pussy. You know, I'd just be like this unblinking patchouli soaked yoga teacher doesn't fucking know anything about it. Yeah, I just
Right.
had this attitude of like, Christ. And I don't know why I reacted like that, but I know a lot of people react like that now because it's never been explained to them by someone who is pragmatic and real, right?
Mhm.
I love blissed out yoga teachers. I go to yoga. I like it. But when I'm over here, tense in a little, a tornado of my own misery and patterns, and someone's like, I just want you to practice self-compassion, and they change their voice like that. It like makes me
Yeah.
kind of nauseous, actually, right? And so, yeah, I would be curious to hear if we can deliver it in a different way to someone who may not have heard this concept before. So come join the conversation.
Please do. Please do. I was gonna say, man, I think the most powerful thing that we're accomplishing with this call, with these lives, like today, for example, it's nothing that we explicitly said. It's the fact that there are two grown men on a fucking camera, on a screen, talking about self-compassion. Because it's not I think it's kind of powerful, right? It's not in a yoga room where you would expect to hear something like that. It's not a yoga room. You know, I love yoga too. I do yoga. I'm trying to go later. But it's just two regular people talking about self-compassion. It's from a place you wouldn't expect it to come.
Yeah,
I think that's the power of it.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, some of my friends would agree with you. They'd be like, "Yeah, I wouldn't expect it to come."
Right. Right. Like, yeah, man. But that's where it lands. I think that's when it lands, right? Do we have a mystery guest?
No mystery guest yet.
But we should just post this link publicly on damn Omegle.
What is that?
Bro,
Omegle?
I just triggered childhood trauma in myself. No, it's it's like chat. You heard of chat roulette?
Mm-mm.
Okay, well, it was. I think they're still in existence, but back in the day, when I was like a kid, we would do this as like teenagers. Go on these websites it would be live video, and it would pair you up with someone random in the world. And it's, bro. Please don't. Please
Wait,
do not.
what is it called?
I'm not telling you, bro. I'm not.
You said Omegle?
Nah, I didn't say Omegle. I said Oshmegle. No, but
Mhm.
bro, I feel like I'm about to send you down a dark rabbit hole. You don't want. I'm telling you, Danny, it's the rabbit hole you went down on TikTok was bad. Omegle that's like, bro, no, it's not worth it, man.
Thank you for that. Thank you. I made a note of that. Thank you.
Damn it.
I just
like
want to
when
say
I'm
something that came up for me as you were talking about. Yeah, back when I was a kid going on these websites, and what came up for me was like, back when I was a kid, there was no internet.
We got a diverse fucking group here, man. Celebrating diversity. Yeah,
When
no,
we
that's
first got
probably
AOL at my house, it was like, And then I would get like halfway through typing a paper, and my mom would pick up the phone and be like, "Oh, it's gone, it's all gone."
I think like we've talked about before, it's a blessing that you did not have Omegle when you were 10. Like,
Oh no, my demented mind would have got me in prison or killed. I'm sure.
exactly.
Would not
So,
have been good.
right, because you definitely stumbled upon some dodgy motherfuckers and just some perverts, bro. Like
Oh, I can imagine.
some sick motherfuckers. Yeah, I still got baggage from that. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, we need to post this link publicly, man.
I did. I posted on Facebook, but let's see. Let's see who I can send this to.
I got a couple people I think would be great guests to come on here for one of them. I'd probably just gotta let them know ahead of time. Yeah, great conversation though. Like I said, I think it's powerful just to hear, hear men talk about, oh yeah, I could be more self-compassionate, or oh yeah, I haven't been in the past, but I'm working on it.
Oh, I think we might have, but we got some activity. Hold on.
Oh, we got something's bubbling.
Oh, we got a little something's going on here.
Somebody took the bait. Uh-oh. They didn't know they're about to be in the hot seat.
Let's
Tell us
see.
about your experience on Omegle.
Any one of the viewers, I see we have some viewers on Facebook. Any one of you is welcome to hit the link and jump in and speak to us. I would love to hear your opinion about what the most self-compassionate version of yourself looks like.
Absolutely, yeah. Please do come join. Let us know. There, Tommy. Damn. I'm gonna grab my charger while we're doing that. My computer has a battery life of 4 minutes. Let's see. First world problems.
Mine's been holding up pretty good. I got this computer during the pandemic, so it's
That motherfucker battle tested.
middle-aged.
I got this at a Best Buy in a dodgy area. All right, cool. You're good.
Juan, if you're seeing this, go hit the link in your WhatsApp because that actually brings you live into the studio with us.
Let's go, man. We got some guests.
Come join the live. Roll the dice. Play some computer roulette today.
I'm trying to think, man. I feel like there is more here, more than what we've said, right?
There's way
On
more.
self-compassion.
There's way more.
There's way more.
There's so much more. And we've only just scratched the surface.
Yes, we have.
What is how do I say this? What's one thing you don't want me to know about your relationship to self-compassion?
It's a great question, man. One thing I don't want you to know about my relationship to self-compassion. What is one thing, man? That's a good fucking question. I think the obvious things, right, are I have not demonstrated it. I've not used it, right? That's the obvious one. I've viewed it as weak, maybe. That's another obvious kind of common one. We as men, right, if I'm not hard on myself, I'm not disciplined with myself, then I'm weak or something. I'm trying to give you something a little better. Let's see. I don't know about my relationship. Yeah, I guess that's it really. I haven't utilized it as much as I would like to, you know? I haven't been as compassionate to myself as I would like to be, despite being someone who's in tune with these concepts, who reads this sort of stuff, who practice it, like, you know? There is no now I'm a guru moment, you know?
There's no what?
There is no now I'm a guru moment.
Oh.
It's just keep on getting a little bit better. Sometimes I fall back. Sometimes I get it right. How would you answer that question, man? I gotta throw it back at you. That was a fucking good question. I was stumped, but how would you uh how would you answer that? What do you not want me to know about your relationship to self-compassion?
Is that I've been an incredible hypocrite. Right?
Yeah.
I've talked about it openly and advised other people and talked to my clients who paid me money and then applied the exact opposite to myself and not fessed up to it. And therefore, I was a fake.
Mm,
Right? I've been a hypocrite in that I've advised other people one thing and I've done the other with myself.
that'll make you feel like a fraud.
Yeah. Yeah, it does. It does make me, especially in the coaching space, like it makes me feel like sometimes when we, you know, imposter syndrome is real for all of us, and I think it's an important tool um, for humility, for compassion, for self awareness. I think it's important. I'm glad we have it, and that I'm learning how to navigate it. But when it flares up for me, it's like you can't even take your own fucking advice. Why should someone pay you? Why would these people
Mm,
pay if they knew that you were actually this asshole that you're telling them not to be, that they would just fucking cancel you right now. So, you know, so the imposter syndrome has been, you can't even do it. How can you tell someone else to do it?
dude, I gotta check this out. I was writing a book. I did write a book. I wrote a book, Unchained, Quitting Pornography, right? From my countless attempts and failures and get it together and knowledge, right? In this space. You struggle with something for a while, you actually get pretty knowledgeable about it. The day I put that motherfucker out, I'm pretty sure it was the same day I watched porn. You you want to know how much of a fraud I felt like? And it was the exact same thing, man. Like I'm asking people to pay me money about an expertise of something I clearly can't even get right. You want to talk about imposter syndrome, man. And that's where, just to bring it back, that's where self-compassion comes in, man. It's like, no, wait, you actually are really knowledgeable in this area. You actually did build a lot of good experience and figured out what works and what doesn't. And you do have a valid perspective on this topic that I think is worth money. You know, I think that was a self-compassion piece of like, okay, you 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 watch porn the same day you put a damn book out on it. That doesn't mean you have to go burn the fucking book and just go, no, none of this shit works. It's like actually it does. There's some bumps in the road. There's some bumps in the road. So that was a self-compassion piece, but that's just to show you some solidarity, man. I've been there, 100%.
Well, you know what they call someone that knows a lot about a topic in court? Materials, what do they call it? A subject expert, right? So how do you become a subject expert? By lived experience.
Hmm. Right? Yeah, that tends to be it, man. In life, the people that are really good at things, they've just fucking been through it, and they probably weren't very good at it at first. You know, for some reason, all the dating gurus started out not being able to succeed in dating or anything, but they just got pissed off and fed up with it, and they looked into it, and now they know some stuff, and that applies to a lot of things. Mystery guest is not coming in, huh?
No, we had a bite, but no. I think people are.
He
What
was
are you?
like,
What are you?
"Fuck it, I don't
Chicken? Were you chicken? What happened? You chicken out?
He was like, "No, I'm good on that. Not today. Maybe tomorrow." It's all
Yeah,
good,
I mean,
man.
I know it can be intimidating for people to jump on online and just talk about themselves like that. It's a very abstract concept for a lot of us, but I
Yeah.
encourage you to join the conversation if you're just joining us now or hearing from us now. My name is Danny McAtee, and this is my colleague and friend, CT Duel. We both work with people on an individual basis, and we formed what's called the Forge Men's Group. Why do we call it the Forge? Because, like a hot piece of iron that you apply under pressure and pound out until it gets stronger and better, we also go through a forge in our personal lives, many of us, where we're subject to adversities, sometimes over and over, sometimes by our own hand, sometimes by the hands of others. And we believe that men need a place to talk about it in an open way, completely without fear, completely without judgment. And this is us talking about that. So we invite you to join. It's never easy, but nothing that was meant for you began with ease. You have to work for all of it. So I invite you to join the conversation.
Sure, man. Couldn't have put it better. I got a quote, man, if I could. I feel like I like
Send
when we
it.
drop quotes on here, man.
Send it.
Here's my phone. This is not really a real quote. Anyways, let me just get to it. Imagine a world where you're complete and whole. Your light shines so bright that you need nothing else to illuminate it. And like the sun, you don't beg for your light to be seen, but the world naturally turns toward it.
You don't beg for your light to be seen.
You don't jump up and down and say, "Hey, look, I'm shining." You don't got to call attention to it, but you don't have to dim it. It's already shining bright, baby.
There you go. Check that out. You don't
Oh.
beg for your light to be seen.
Motherfucker already bright as hell.
I like that. Well, if you're watching and you don't want, we have about, I don't know, 10, 15 more minutes left on this particular live. If you don't want to jump on camera, I get it. It's an abstract concept. Send us a comment. Drop a comment. What would the most self-compassionate version of you look like? What would change? Would you do something differently? Would you stop doing something? Let us know. That's the topic for today. Compassion is something that men often don't talk about, and we certainly very often don't apply it to ourselves.
Damn. Yeah,
How about them apples?
you nailed it. That's what it's the it's both, right? It's the understanding and the knowledge of it, but then as importantly, it's the action, right? Putting it into practice. Because I'm good at going, hey, well, I know a lot about self-compassion, and then just not applying it. Right. So
Well, again, I mean, this is why we call it a practice, because we're not going to get it right on the first time. Speaking for myself, I mean, I certainly haven't. I don't know many people that would or could. And so we have to practice it, right? It's a process. This is why my personal work is called the process, right? Because very, very rarely you just come out of the gate and you bat 1,000 immediately without working. It sometimes takes. My opinion is that it always takes practice, repetition, analysis, self-examination, and that can take some time. All right. This is the concept that's at the basis of recovery not being a linear process. It moves in waves. It has peaks and valleys, right?
absolutely, brother. Absolutely.
Well, no
That's
one's
self-compassion.
joining. No one's commenting.
You seem, man, you seem rejected or something. You seem, hey,
I'm
they
just
don't
gonna
want
go
the sauce.
sit by myself like a dog, eat some cigarette butts. No, I don't feel rejected. But people are doing what they're doing. It's Saturday afternoon. Hopefully, people are having a life. For those of you who are watching, please feel free to interact with us in the comments after the live is over. We will respond right away. Let me just throw up our personal contact right here. We got Curlsmeister. Oh,
The Curls
David
Meister.
Curls. How you doing?
What's up, dude? Good to see
What's
you,
up,
bro.
brother?
How are you? This is my friend CT Duel.
What's up,
What's
man?
up, man?
Duel
What you
Chilling,
guys
chilling.
talking about?
Curls. Curls and I met when before every shift, we'll go to Phil's Coffee, Phil's University on Minnesota Street, and fire up before our night shift. We developed a friendship. Curls
What do
also
you? What do
froze.
he is frozen, but the curls are strong, man.
It's also a
Nonetheless.
very, very incredibly talented artist. I have a piece of his that he made. I don't remember the
Painting or
medium.
drawing?
Drawing and painting, I believe. Curls, you gotta refresh your shit, dude.
Damn, bro, hey, that's cool. That
In
was
the United
San
States, and you're the only one that doesn't have a signal. I don't know what to tell you.
We out here in third world Panama. We got a damn. No, so you guys met in was that in San Francisco?
Yeah.
Okay, nice.
We met in San Francisco. I was a very different place in my life. And he was just a person that I connected with right away. Hardworking, talented guy. If I'm not mistaken, he's been in the Las Vegas area for a while. Well,
I love meeting people at coffee shops, man.
Curls, let me know when you get back.
Damn, man, you gave him the boot immediately.
Oh, Curls is back. You
There we go.
unfroze. You came in and then you froze. Welcome. Welcome. This is my friend
Welcome
CT Duel.
What up, CT
Sir.
Duel? It's cool to meet
What's
you.
up, brother? Likewise.
Heck yeah.
Thanks for joining us today. You're someone that I've always respected, your work ethic, your talent, and your opinion. And I would love for you to answer a question for us, if I may.
What's up?
If you were the most self-compassionate version, what would change? What would your life look like if you were the most self-compassionate version of yourself? What would you do or not do differently?
My most self-compassionate self. Damn, I have no idea. I'm not even in that mental space of thinking right now because of the current state of the USA.
Say more.
That's why I hit you up. I was like, yo, what is everybody thinking over there? Because right now, today, what's going on? I feel like the USA ain't gonna be the same after today, after this weekend. I feel like our freedoms, our rights are all under attack, and it's not just about the illegal immigrants. I think it's all the Americans that are at risk of losing what we fought for, right? Like, I don't know. That's what I've been thinking about. I've been like beating myself up because I didn't leave when I told you. I think it was in November. I was like, man, I'm about to make a run to Mexico because ain't nothing going good for me here. And now I feel like it's too late. We're going to be stuck here. We'll probably not even be able to leave our cities. It's freaking pretty scary. Where are you at, Duel?
I'm in Bolivia.
Bolivia. Okay.
3 days ago, you were in Brazil. What the fuck? I noticed I thought you just redecorated your apartment in your
Yeah.
country now. Fucking
I
simmer down.
went from a damn jail cell to a fucking man. Yeah, Bolivia. I don't know what's going on in the US. I'm ignorant. My apologies. But every single person that's there that I've talked to in the past few days has said the same thing. Has said, holy shit, it is crazy.
Yeah.
That's been the sentiment. That's been the sentiment. Shit is crazy. Shit's hitting the fan. And I'm still over here like, I ain't gonna Google it. Yeah.
No, yeah. I mean, like last weekend when the protest started, I was like, oh, I didn't even know there was protest scheduled. I didn't even know what was going on. And then Monday and Tuesday started coming along, and it was like, all right, it's way worse. They deployed the National Guard in Los Angeles. They deployed the Marines on American soil, bro. Like, it's like, hold on, like why are they here? Like, there wasn't even nothing crazy. Have you been paying attention, McAtee?
No. And that's on purpose. I mean, I've gotten little snapshots when people ask me, they're like, "Yo, have you seen this?" I'm like, "Haven't seen the news in a week." And I looked at a little bit a few days ago, so I have no idea what happened today or yesterday. But For me, I think that what you're bringing up has a lot to do with compassion, actually. I should have done this when I could have. I should have left in November when I thought so. Right? Compassion has to do with understanding, not necessarily justifying, but understanding why we did, do, or think the way we do. Right? It takes, there's a tremendous amount of fear surrounding leaving our spot, leaving where we're comfortable and jumping headfirst out of our comfort zone. For me, I don't know exactly what's going on, but what I do know is several years ago, I started to get a little whiff here and there. Like, I'm no politician, but this does not smell right. When you smell milk twice, you're going to pour your coffee in the morning, you're like, smell it, you're like, no, I'm not going to drink that. That's kind of what I felt like about the United States. I'm like, I don't know exactly what this is, but I know I don't want to be a part of it. I can't change whatever this is, but what I can control is my physical location, and so I'm out. And it's the best decision I've ever made. I love my country. I always will. I will never renounce it. But also, I love my country in the way that I think some moms love their disorderly teenagers. Like, I want to whip your ass back to yourself, but also I love you, and you're going through a hard time. And it feels like the United States is like a teenager that started drinking and smoking weed too early. Just like went a little out of control. And so I'm like, I can't whip all of you, so I got to go and duck out. And this is also a version of compassion, right? Compassion has to do with being able to see from a different perspective and apply a response with as little ego as possible, right? Because what ego makes us say, you should have, why didn't you? If only you had, look at what you did, dumbass. Oh. And compassion says, yes, I wish the outcome would have been different, but I understand why you made the choice that you did, and that's okay. We'll move from here forward instead of going back and being like, I should have done this, I should have done that. So, do you want to tell us what's going on? Like, tell us what's making you feel this way?
Today is it's called Trump called, or this has been planned. I don't know for how long now, but just this week it's been circulating that he's going to throw a parade today for his birthday, and it's the 250th birthday of the Army or whatever, the Marines. And I forgot what else that they're doing it for. But aside from that, on the opposite end, there's a No Kings protest going on too. There's over 2,000 protests that are scheduled to happen all across the country. It's starting at 12. It should be starting here soon. But basically, Trump said on one of his talks this week that anybody protesting the parade is going to be met with heavy force. And that was already shown on Monday and Tuesday when he called in the National Guard and the Marines on American soil. And then ICE agents are coming through, and there's a bunch of videos circulating of ICE agents coming and just taking everybody, taking even American citizens. They've sent American citizens back to places they ain't even from. And so it's like apparently what's happening right now is supposed to be for the great shift. Apparently I've been doing some little deep dive research into the conspiracies, and this may have been planned and tried over the last 100 years to do the reset. And apparently this might be it, where, and then on top of that, Israel and Iran just popped off. Did you know that?
I did see that. Yeah, I saw a little snippet on that.
Right. And that's all, like, everything's all tied in together. I don't think any of these events are separated or have nothing to do with each other. I feel like, and then on top of that, a lot of people aren't educated or even know or understand how all this stuff is interconnected and how it affects us. And so that's the other thing I've been battling with too, is like, I've been keeping myself very limited with what I share to people, because I do keep up with this stuff on my own. I don't really share a lot because nobody really cares to know or believe, right? Like, everybody's too comfortable living their American dream. But it's like, bro, this is beyond that. Like, this is not just an attack on illegal immigrants. This is an attack on the American Constitution, right? Like, if we're all patriots, bro, like we're all about to lose our rights, and the Constitution is about to be rewritten. I mean, he already put this big bill in where he put the AI. There's an AI involved right now that has been involved, and it's helping the ICE agents find all these illegal immigrants and arrest them and take. It's a bunch of shit, bro. I've been going crazy, and I'm just like, dude, I may have waited too long, but right now I've just been trying to get as educated as I can and as ready as I can for whatever. Like, if we are going to get shut down here and we can't leave, if they do shut off the internet, if they do shut off the power grid, like, I'm just getting ready, here at the house and shit, getting ready to hold it down and defend the family. But I'm like, dude, I'm this close to just fucking hopping on a bus and going to Tijuana and make my way down to fucking, Puerto Vallarta. Where you at?
It's really relaxed down here. That's all I want to say.
Oh, I know. I see all that. It's not only you that has left. I gave a girl a ride back when I was living in San Francisco on Lyft, and I started seeing her shit pop up on my story. I was like, who the fuck is this girl? So I hit her up. I was like, yo, how do we meet? And she's like, oh, yeah, you gave me a Lyft ride in San Francisco. I moved to Mexico like 4 years ago. I was like, what? She's like, yeah, I was tired of the bullshit, so I left. I was like, so how you doing? She's like, I got my own place. I'm relaxed. I got a cool job, cool friends. I was like, bro.
Listen, have you ever heard of the sphere of control? Or the
Sphere?
donut of control? Yeah, the sphere of control.
Mm-mm.
I want you to picture a donut, like a delicious, from like Bob's Donuts in the Tenderloin, like a old-fashioned maple glazed donut.
I'm fucking hungry, man.
Yeah. If you've never heard of Bob's, you got to go to Bob's Donut. It's like open 24 hours in the Tenderloin. They have cake-sized donuts that are like this big. But so imagine the donut. Okay, so in the center of the donut is a small empty space. That is the sphere of our control. Okay, the body of the donut, the tasty glazed part, that's the sphere of influence, right? Outside of that, the whole rest of the world and the universe is completely outside of our control and completely outside of our influence, right? So what we can control? We can control our thoughts. We can control our breath. We can control our physical whereabouts. We can control who we allow access to us in most cases. In the sphere of influence, Curls, I can't control anything about you. I could be like, yo, listen, Curls, you're doing this thing that's getting on my nerves. And I'm just going to ask you as my friend, do you think you can tone it down on this, or that? So I can ask you that could influence your outcome. You could be like, F you, no dice. Cool. There's nothing I can do about it, right? But so I can influence some things. But what happens is we spend most of our energy on the external world that we have absolutely no control over. I have no control over Donald Trump. I have no control over Homeland Security. I have no control over ICE. I have zero control. I have zero influence. And so for me, and that's just, some of the political things that you've mentioned today, but someone I was in a relationship with that dumped me. I can't control that. Maybe can influence it. But so what I'm saying is the things you're talking about, Curls, are things that talk about fundamentals in our life. Safety, security, shelter, infrastructure, and the idea that those could be taken away from us, right? Mm-hmm. So if they are or if they aren't taken away from us, I can't control that. What I can do is I heard you say is like, I'm just staying at the house. I'm getting prepared here. If anything happens, I'll hold it down. I'll make sure the family's taken care of. So what you verbalized is you doing what you can control. Like, I don't know what's going on with the grid or the internet or this or that, but what I do know is what's going on at my house, and I am doing these things to get ready. Right? So when we focus our energy in our sphere of control, we bring the temperature down on our nervous system. Because when they're like, what if this? What if this? What if there's martial law? What if this? What if they lock the borders? What if they turn off the lights? We're just like anxious and, tweaked out for no reason. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so part of what we're talking about here, self-compassion, means it makes sense that we would focus attention on all these factors. But self-compassion says, all right, I've been spending all this energy on looking at protests and looking at news and Twitter and Instagram and all this other stuff. And I understand why, because I'm trying to get information. I'm trying to orient myself and understand my environment. But it's making me stay up all night and it's making me go crazy with anxiety. Compassion says, I understand why I did that, but it's not working. And so I'm going to change it up to have a different outcome. Right. And this is why CT and I have started the men's group, because males and females process stuff very differently. Biologically, what do males do? Provide, defend, produce. Right. So when something like this happens, we're like, what do I need to do? Where are the weapons? Right. What do we do? We got to close in the circle, get the family inside. And I guess for most of us, we haven't had to live that way for most of our lives. But our biology is still wired the same way, right? And so me going like this on TikTok, looking at who's throwing bombs at who and who's raiding who and all this stuff, I'm like, what do I do about this? And there's nothing I can do about it. So I'm burning all this energy, raising my blood pressure, not sleeping. And what happens when I'm not sleeping? I start drinking. What happens when I can't figure out how to offload stress? I go look for a hooker and bust a nut somewhere. Right. And so just to keep it totally real, I mean, that's what we do. Jump in.
Why are you attacking me, brother? Yeah. CT goes and finds a hook.
I need to go where you're at, CT.
Come on, hey, come on. Okay. Just enabling everything.
But go ahead, McAtee.
Does that make sense?
Yes, sir. Yes, it does.
So this is part of why, like, could I have ever predicted that any of this would happen? Never in my wildest dreams. Like when someone called me up and be like, they told me what was going on in LA, I was like, no, what? And then I turned on the news. I was like, oh, okay. Couldn't have predicted that. But what I did do was I felt a shift inside myself. I'm like, something smells off here. I don't really know. I'm carrying a 9mm to Safeway. All I hear is automatic gunfire at night in Vallejo. I'm working with a bunch of scumbags, doing the same thing all the time, getting spit on, shit on, stepping on needles. Like, do I really want to keep doing this? No, I don't. So what can I control? I control my physical whereabouts. Do I show up at work or not anymore? Do I go somewhere else? And do I prioritize my peace of mind and my sanctity, of my space? And that's what I chose. Turns out it was the best decision I ever made, because look at what you got.
You're fucking beaming. You're glowing, bro. Hell yeah.
I am looking out at a jungle and I walk around all the time. I couldn't even tell you the last time I've touched a weapon. I certainly haven't heard any gunfire in 2 years. What? Right? Because I don't feel physically threatened. I mean, my body's away, but can't.
Oh, that reaction is telling though from Curls, right? When you said you haven't touched a weapon in 2 years, and it's like, what? It's like that's where we're at. That's where we're at. It's like you haven't had to fucking carry a weapon, and it's crazy, man.
Bro, my brother.
I will.
Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. I was just gonna say I will say it's not all roses. Like I hate to paint that picture to anyone in the US, right? Like to my friends too, when they always tell me like, bro, you're in Bolivia, what the fuck? You're in Colombia, you're living, bro. And they're like, man, you're really doing it. I'm like, well, it's isolating as fuck sometimes. It's hard as fuck sometimes. I just want to caution that, obviously.
Well, so it's a great point though, CT, because remember, we've talked about this model before of the louder the volume is out here, the quieter it seems up here. Right. So when I take myself out of the environment, now there's no more gunshots. Now there's no more crackheads all over the place. Now there's no one trying to break in all the time and steal my shit. But now I have to deal with my childhood. Right. Now I'm here with myself. Oh, damn. Right. And so when it gets quiet and calm out here, now everything that's been in here shoved down goes bloop. Hello. We're back.
We're back, bitch.
We're good. We're gonna charge you the interest, motherfuckers. That's right. And this is what we're doing in this group. And I mean, here we're doing a modified version publicly. But the point of this men's group is that men have lost touch with sitting in a circle and putting our hearts out and supporting each other and being like, I see you and I hear you. I'm not advising you. I'm not judging you. I'm not criticizing you. I'm just here with you. Not for you, with you. And I think that if there is an antidote to all this shit that you're mentioning, it's connection.
Yes. Hell yes. I've been reaching out and trying to prepare my people, or well, the receptive ones, the ones that aren't, whatever, bro. Like I've been telling people that I've been like reaching out and trying to test the waters and see who's, receiving what I'm saying. And the ones that aren't, I'm just like, you're not going to care until it directly affects you. Until then, it's going to be a rude awakening, buddy. But just know that I warned you, or I at least tried to tell you. But for my friends, I've just been like, yo, man, prepare. Like, just prepare at the house, bro. Get ready, because it might be turn into some purge shit, like we're all fucking against each other, killing each other for our freaking whatever we got at the house, bro. Like, they might shut the banks off here soon. We don't know, bro. We don't know. Like, I'm like,
good luck with that.
Yes, I know. Fuck, bro. I should have left a long time ago. Damn it.
Well, here you are now, and I think I'd just like to acknowledge how present I see you being, right? You're like, I'm making invitations to people that I care about. They either accept them or they don't. I'm over here at my house. I'm preparing as much as I can. That's what you can do. You made the bold decision to connect on live with me and someone you've never met before. And so I hope you do more of this.
Yeah,
I hope you do a lot more of this. We are over time, so we have to wrap this up. I actually have lunch with a client.
Okay.
And
It's
so
like my chef just finished cooking.
if only, yeah. If I don't have it that good. I still have to cook and clean my own shit. I don't have it that good at all.
I'm kidding, man.
But Curls,
Yes, sir.
it's good to see you. It's really good to see you. You look great. I always love hearing from you, and thanks for jumping on.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you for having me. Nice to meet you, Duels.
We'll do it again on Monday.
Okay.
And jump on anytime.
I'll be here. I'll
It will
fucking
give
hop
you
on,
an
bro.
asset to this group.
Is it just you two, or who's a part of this group?
We have a number of people. I mean, usually we had one of my friends who's you might have met. I don't know if you met her or not. She was a cop before. She jumped on yesterday. But we've been doing the lives ourselves. But we're like, it's kind of boring just to hear two people talking and limited perspective. So let's just open it up. Play connection roulette.
Hell yeah.
And we scored on you. But the men's group, there are a number of people who are in this version of the men's group. We had one earlier, and we're doing the other one. So we're selective. Man. We're selective. It's not open to everybody. But let's talk more about it offline. I would love to involve you.
Yes, sir. Let's do it.
My friend, always good to see you.
Likewise.
Take care. Duel.
McAtee.
I just think it's so rude that StreamYard uses the phrase "kick out of the studio." It sounds like kicking.
StreamYard's like, give that motherfucker the boot.
Yeah, I did not kick out Curls. We just ended it. So
gracefully.
What an incredible gift to see this guy. It was just a talented, fascinating person. Always
tapped in, man.
David. Yeah, he is. I have a lot of respect for David.
That was awesome. I'm glad he joined.
So we'll do more of this. We'll open this up to the public more, I think, and always good to talk to you as well. Love hearing.
Likewise, man.
And we will do this again in a couple days.
Cool. Yeah, the purpose originally of doing these at different times and days was to test, right? When is the best time? So I think we're getting close to landing on like once a week, twice a week, whatever it is, right? And that's just our time, and people can come to expect that. So, yeah, man.
Awesome.
Thank you, Danny. Thank you, Maxie. Appreciate you, man. This was great.
Talk to you soon, my friend.
All right, man.